The first time Min heard the jungle breathing, he thought it was only the wind. It came as a low pulse beyond the misted tree line, rhythm like a sleeping animal drawing air through vast lungs. He stood on the wooden pier of Lake Patan Itza, watching the last streaks of sunset fade to bruised purple. All around, the rainforest rose in shadowed layers, each leaf wet with the day's humidity. Guatemala smelled of rain before the storm, of soil rich enough to swallow footsteps. Dr. Min. He turned. Professor Laura Bennett, the British epigrapher leading the international survey, stepped out of the boat, boots crunching on the planks. Her ponytail was soaked with sweat. Satellite crew checked in. We have a break in the canopy tomorrow. You still good to hike at dawn? Min nodded, though a flicker of unease had settled behind his ribs. The dream from the night before clung to him, a stone stair spiraling downward. Voices like dripping water repeating a single word he could not recall upon. Waking, they left the lakeshore village before sunrise. A caravan of 6, Laura, Min, 2 graduate students. A Guatemalan field medic named Xac'ir and Anna, their cache guide. Anna moved like a wisp among the ceiba trees, a woven scarf, the color of rust, draped across her shoulders. Her grandmother, she explained, had once served as a AJQIJ, a daykeeper of the old calendar. The path is old, Anna said quietly as they entered the forest. It remembers every footstep. Do not stray. Humidity pressed on them like a second skin. Howler monkeys screamed in the distance, a sound so raw it felt prehistoric. Vines slick with dew brushed their faces. The ground exhaled a damp, metallic scent. Min tried to focus on the GPS coordinates glowing faintly on his tablet. But the signal wavered, as though the jungle itself disapproved of electronics. Hours later, they reached the high plateau locales, called Pitan Rojo, the Red Steppe. They're hidden behind curtains of strangler fig. A staircase of gray limestone rose toward the canopy. The blocks were immense, their surfaces etched with glyphs eroded into ghostly curls. Laura whistled. Not on any of the LiDAR scans. Incredible. Anna did not look impressed. Her dark eyes studied the glyphs, then narrowed. You walk where the Xac'ir sleep, she murmured in Spanish. Min caught the unfamiliar name. Xac'ir? What does that mean? Anna hesitated. Before she stopped, lips tightening. Better you do not know. They set camp in a natural clearing beside the staircase. The evening fog came early, rising from the ground in ribbons. Fireflies pulsed like tiny green hearts. Min recorded notes by the weak glow of a headlamp while Laura examined a broken stela half buried in vines. Look here, she said, brushing dirt from a carved face. See the storm glyph? That's Xac, the thunder god. But this, she pointed to a second figure headless. Body drawn as swirling smoke. I've never seen this in any codex. Anna's voice cut through the thick air. Because it is forbidden. They are the Xac'ir priests who lost their bodies and kept only hunger. The students exchanged uneasy looks. Xac'ir chuckled to break the tension, but the sound died quickly. The forest around them had gone strangely quiet, the insect chorus falling away, as if some vast predator approached. Anna squatted beside the fire, her scarf catching the flicker of flame. During the age of Tickle, she said, there were those who wished to live beyond death. They bound their souls with obsidian and lightning, defying Xac himself. The storm god struck them down, yet they remained neither flesh nor spirit. The elders call them those without shape. When the moon bleeds, they return from memory and blood. Laura offered a skeptical smile. A myth to keep travelers out of dangerous ruins. Anna met her eyes without blinking. Then stay away tomorrow night. The moon will bleed. Later, as the camp settled into uneasy silence, Min lay awake in his hammock. The jungle's earlier breathing returned, closer now, like a slow tide beneath the earth. He remembered the spiral staircase from his dream and the word that had slipped away at dawn. A whisper threaded the darkness. It was not the wind. His heart hammered. He sat up, scanning the trees. Mist coiled between the trunks, faintly luminous. Within it, he thought he saw movement and outline of a tall figure with shoulders like smoke. Eyes no brighter than absence itself. Blink. Gone. He forced himself to breathe, counting each inhale against the jungle's hidden rhythm. But even as exhaustion claimed him, the whisper lingered, shaping the lost syllable on his lips. Xa. See single quotes IR. Morning arrived as a pale smear of silver through the canopy. The camp stirred reluctantly, dew dripping from hammocks like cold sweat. Min woke with the taste of iron on his tongue and the fading echo of a word he no longer dared to speak aloud. Anna was already standing at the forest edge. Eyes closed, palms lifted to the trees as though reading a silent prayer. When she opened them, she gave a small shake of her head. "The air is wrong," she said. To still, Laura brushed past with the briskness of caffeine and determination. "Still is good," she replied. Less wildlife to disturb the work? They packed quickly, leaving the camp half standing so they could return by dusk. The great staircase loomed ahead, gray and wet with last night's mist. Moss veined every stone, but the carved glyphs seemed sharper than before. As if chiseled anew during the night, Min felt the first tug of unease when his boot hit the bottom step. The limestone was warmed at the mild warmth of tropical rock, but something deeper, like heat stored from a hidden furnace. He pressed his palm to it. A faint vibration trembled beneath the surface, the pulse of a distant drum. "Do you feel that?" he asked. Xac'ir tapped the stone with his knuckles. "Just your imagination, amigo." But the vibration remained. They climbed carefully, measuring, photographing, noting each glyph. Laura's excitement grew with every meter. "This entire stairway is a codex," she said, voice trembling. "Not mere decoration, this tells a story." Halfway up, Min paused at a panel half buried in vines. A pair of eyes stared back at him, carved ovals as deep as thumbprints, unblinking. He leaned closer and found no mouth, no nose, only the endless gaze. The jungle suddenly went silent. A hot gust of air rose from the steps, smelling faintly of copper and damp ash. Leaves rattled without wind. From far below came a low hum, soft at first, then gathering strength until it matched the rhythm of a heartbeat. "Back down," Anna said sharply. Now Laura frowned. It's just the echo of the hum cut her off. It rolled beneath their feet like thunder trapped in the stone. A fine crimson trickle slid from the eyeglyph, slow and deliberate, and dripped onto Min's hand. Blood, he jerked back. The droplet steamed where it touched his skin. The sky darkened as though the sun had blinked. Clouds bunched with unnatural speed, swallowing the pale morning light. Somewhere deep in the jungle, a howler monkey screamed a shrill, ragged cry that ended too abruptly. "We need shelter," Xac'ir said, voice cracking. They scrambled upward, instinctively seeking the top where the staircase opened onto a wide terrace. The plateau spread before them, a broken courtyard of fractured stones and strangler fig roots. At its center, a circular slab lay flush with the ground, carved with a spiral descending inward like a whirlpool. Min's breath caught. It was the exact pattern from his dream. Laura crouched to photograph it. "This is extraordinary an entryway, maybe a ceremonial platform." Anna pulled her back. "It is a door," she hissed, "but not for us." The hum from the staircase deepened until the stones themselves seemed to breathe. A warm exhalation brushed Min's face, smelling of wet incense and something older. Metallic and sharp. He dropped to one knee, ear to the slab. Beneath it came a sound unmistakable in its rhythm, the steady thump-thump of a living heart. A sudden wind whipped across the terrace, snapping camera straps and scattering notes. Fog boiled up from the jungle floor, climbing the steps and thick ropes. The team huddled together, silhouettes swallowed by white. Through the fog came the first whistle. High, thin, almost delicate, a single note that seemed to thread through bone. Min felt it vibrate along his spine, prying at memory. Childhood images flickered behind his eyes, his mother calling him in the Hanoi rain. The smell of jasmine tea, the first fossil he ever held. One by one, the memories dulled, their edges dissolving. "Do you hear that?" whispered one of the students. Anna's face had gone the color of old ivory. "They wake." Laura grabbed Min's arm. "Tell me this is a trick of pressure systems." Before he could answer, shapes began to form within the mist-towering silhouettes. Taller than any man, bodies like smoke wrapped around a hollow core. Where heads should have been, darkness pooled deeper than the fog itself. The whistle rose, split into a chorus. Min's knees weakened. He clutched the spiral slab for balance and felt a sudden warmth sear through his palm. Looking down, he saw the stone glowing faintly, lines of molten red tracing the spiral inward. The ground trembled. Run. Aina's voice cut through the shrill air. They stumbled toward the stair. But the fog thickened like wet wool, closing every gap. Min reached for Laura's hand and caught only mist. The terrace shifted beneath him. Stones tilted and slid as if the pyramid were breathing in reverse. From the whiteness emerged a single figure. Closer than the others, its form clearer. Shoulders broad, arms long and fluid as river water, eyes twin voids. No footsteps marked its approach, only the low hiss of stone against stone. It stopped an arm's length away. The void eyes fixed on Min. Inside them he saw flashes, lightning over an ancient city. Priests carving obsidian knives, a sky torn by red moons. A voice entered his mind, not sound, but a thought as cold as midnight water. Memory for blood. Blood for memory. His chest tightened. He wanted to scream. The breath caught in his throat like a swallowed blade. Then Aina's hand seized his collar and yanked him backward. The figure dissolved into the fog as if it had never been. They tumbled down the staircase, it sliding on slick moss, lungs burning. The humming faded only when they reached the base, where the clearing lay drenched in sudden sunlight. Birds shrieked overhead, the normal jungle chorus rushing back like a tide. No one spoke for a long moment. Sweat dripped from their faces. Their hearts hammered in uneven sync. Laura finally broke the silence, her voice a ragged whisper. "Tell me." Someone else saw that. No one answered. Aina wiped her palms on her scarf, eyes fixed on the staircase that now looked perfectly ordinary, each glyph a harmless curl of stone. "This place is awake," she said. "Tonight the moon bleeds. If we stay, we do not leave." Min stared at the steps, where a single smear of crimson still glistened against the graw drop that did not dry in the sun. The jungle exhaled again, slow and deep, as if amused. The jungle never truly slept. But the camp that night lay under a hush so deep it felt manufactured. Even the insects kept their wings still, as if waiting for a signal. Min sat cross-legged beside a dying fire, notebook open, pen unmoving. He kept replaying the terrace in his mind, the warm stone beneath his hand, the spiral glowing like molten iron, the voice that had entered his skull without sound. Memory for blood. The phrase pulsed like an old injury, across the flames. Laura studied a weather-stained codex fragment Aina had produced from her pack. The parchment looked impossibly fragile, a lattice of smoke and time. "Where did you get this?" Laura asked. Aina's face was unreadable in the flickering light. "My grandmother hid it. She said it belongs to the Xac'ir, but it warns as well as curses." "You wanted history? Now you have it." Laura adjusted her glasses, scanning the faded glyphs. Min leaned closer, drawn by the ink's faint shimmer. "It's not classic Maya script," Laura murmured. "More like a syncretic cipher. Some of these signs I've only seen in pre-Columbian codices from the Gulf Coast." Aina tapped a jagged spiral at the center of the page. "That is the path of the hollow. The priests of Tickle used it when they sought to outlive their flesh." Min's throat tightened. How they offered themselves to Xac'ir in defiance. Blood, yes, but also memory, everything that made them human. They believed the storm god would strike them dead and resurrect their essence in the thunder. Instead, Xac'ir split them from their bodies. Now they are neither man nor spirit. They crave what they lost. Laura set the parchment down carefully. If they crave memory, why the blood? Anna's gaze held them both. Because memory lives in blood. The fire collapsed into embers. Min felt the night pressing close. The jungle, a single vast ear, listening to every word. Xac'ir broke the silence with a shaky laugh. "Old stories. We scare ourselves, and tomorrow we hike out. But Anna did not smile. Tomorrow is the blood moon. The words hung like a slow-falling blade, unable to sleep. Min wandered to the edge of the clearing. A milky glow spread across the treetops, the moon, rising fat and red as fresh clay. Its light pooled on the staircase of stone, turning each step the color of dried wounds. He should have turned back. Instead, the spiral from the terrace pulsed behind his eyes, a heartbeat he could almost hear. He started up the first step. The stone was warmer than before. With each rise, his pulse slowed until it matched the hidden drum. Halfway up, whispers bled through the night. Not in Spanish, not in Quechua, but in a tongue his mind half recognized, like a childhood lullaby spoken backward. Shah, seer, Shah, seer. A sudden gust swept the trees. Mist poured upward like smoke through a cracked door. Min gripped the rail of vine and felt it vibrate alive. When he reached the terrace, spiral slab glowed faintly, as though lit from below. The moon bathed everything in copper. He felt the pull downward, inward an invitation carved in stone. Then a voice, quiet but distinct, brushed his ear. Memory for blood. Give and remain. He spun. No one stood behind him. Only fog, thick and breathing. Back at camp, Laura found him an hour later, sitting on the slab with eyes unfocused. Min. She shook his shoulder. What the hell are you doing? He blinked, the trance shattering. I don't know. I couldn't stop walking. Laura's flashlight cut arcs through the mist. We need to leave. Now. They hurried down. But as they reached the clearing, the forest erupted with a single earth-deep boom like the strike of a colossal drum. The ground shuddered. Fireflies burst from the trees in a swarm of green sparks, then winked out all at once. Anna met them at the campfire, face pale. The rite begins, she whispered. We are inside it. An hour crawled by. The moon climbed higher, redder. From the direction of the terrace came a distant chanting. Hundreds of overlapping voices rising and falling in a rhythm older than language. Laura gripped Min's arm. Tell me you hear that. He nodded. Each syllable slid beneath his skin, vibrating his bones. Images ignited behind his eyes. A vast city of white stone. Priests carving lightning shapes into their own chests. A sky fractured by thunderbolts. He tasted obsidian and smoke. The students huddled near the fire, trembling. Xac'ir muttered a prayer in rapid Spanish. Anna drew a circle of salt around the group, chanting under her breath. It will not hold them, she said, but it may slow their hunger. Min felt something stir behind him. Cold. Immense. He turned. Figures emerged from the black wall of jungle, dozens, perhaps more. They were taller than any human, bodies woven of mist and shadow, each step silent yet vibrating the ground. Where faces should have been were holes so deep they swallowed moonlight. One moved forward. Its shape shimmered like heat haze, yet its gaze pinned him as surely as iron nails. Blood for memory, the thought voice said. Give and remain. The others joined the whisper. A chorus that bent the air. Laura fumbled for her camera, then froze as the creature tilted its head. The camera burst with a snap, plastic melting in an instant. The smell of scorched metal filled the clearing. The students screamed. One stumbled beyond the salt circle. Mist lashed outward like a striking serpent and wrapped him in a silvery coil. His cry cut off as his body convulsed. A stream of red light rose from his chest, threading into the creature's hollow face. When the mist receded, he collapsed, eyes open, utterly blank. Breathing, but empty. Min lunged to pull him back, but Anna caught his arm. Too late, she said, voice breaking. The memory is gone. Only flesh remains. The chanting swelled until the night itself seemed to tremble. The Xac'ir tightened their ring around the camp, each movement impossibly graceful. Like dancers in a slow hurricane, the lead figure extended a hand-long fingers of shadow tipped with obsidian sparks toward Min. You carry many lives. It whispered inside his skull. Blood of ancestors. Blood of storms. Give and remain. He felt his own memories peeling away. The scent of Hanoi rain, his father's laughter, the first dig that had defined his career. Panic flared. He clutched his chest as if he could cage them inside. Anna stepped forward, placing herself between Min and the shade. "Take me," she said. "I carry the words you seek." The creature tilted its head again, almost curious. But instead of advancing, it receded a single step. The chanting wavered. Min seized the moment, grabbing Laura's hand. "We run," he hissed. They bolted toward the narrow trail that led to the lake, dragging the dazed students. Behind them, the jungle howled, not like animals, but like the roar of a storm breaking over stone temples. They didn't stop until the first smear of dawn lightened the eastern sky. Only then did the whispers fade, and the forest regain its normal pulse of insect song. Exhausted, they collapsed on the muddy shore of the lake. The student who had been taken stared blankly at the water, silent tears cutting tracks down his dirt-streaked face. He did not respond when Laura spoke his name. Anna knelt beside him, her own eyes shining with grief. "The rite has only begun," she said. "Tonight was the summons. Next comes the choosing." Min looked back toward the jungle where the pyramid lay hidden. A crimson glow still flickered above the trees, as if the moon had left an ember behind. "Memory for blood," the words pulsed again inside his skull. Softer now, but insistent, like a promise that could not be broken. Dawn came thin and colorless. A weak veil stretched over the lake. No one in the team slept. The student whose memories had been stolen, ego sat motionless on a fallen log, eyes vacant, lips parted as though waiting for a word he could no longer recall. Min crouched beside him, speaking softly in Spanish, then English, but the young man only blinked. A faint reflection of the lake in his pupils. His chest rose and fell. The body lived, but the mind was a clean, unmarked wall. Anna traced a protective glyph in the dirt with a twig. "The Xac'ir do not kill," she said. "They take what is sweeter." Laura paced the narrow shore, face pale under her sun hat. "We're leaving," she snapped. "Today we call the extraction boat, and there is no signal," Xac'ir interrupted, waving his satellite phone. Static hissed like distant rain. Not even a carrier tone. Anna shook her head. "The blood moon has closed the path. Until it sets, this jungle belongs to them." Laura's mouth tightened. "We can still hike out, can you?" Anna's dark eyes held her. "Last night they marked you. They will follow." The group fell silent. Somewhere across the water a howler monkey cried, but the sound fractured midway, turning into a low, bone-deep hum that made Min's stomach knot. By late afternoon, the sky bruised to a dull violet. The team packed anyway, strapping crates of equipment with frantic hands. Min felt each minute slip like sand. The humming never ceased. It simply changed pitch, a heartbeat beneath the earth. They followed Anna along a narrow trail that curved away from the lake. Vines hung like wet ropes, dripping a bitter resin. The forest seemed to lean inward, trunks bending minutely as though herding them back. Half an hour in, sudden wind hissed through the canopy. The light dimmed to rust. Min glanced up. The moon was already rising, enormous and red, far too early. "The eclipse," Anna whispered. "It begins." The air grew heavy and warm, tasting of copper. Fog seeped from the ground, wrapping their legs. Their steps slowed, the path twisting, though Anna swore she knew it well. Then the jungle exhaled, one long, resonant breath, and the world shifted. The trail vanished. Min blinked. Where moments ago a corridor of vines had stretched, there was now only endless mist glowing faintly crimson. Laura's voice cut through the gloom. "We just came this way?" "What?" The whistle returned, that high, delicate note that pierced the skull. It multiplied, a dozen threads weaving through bone. Shapes gathered in the fog. They came without sound of footfall. Tall, lean shadows, bodies like smoke sculpted by wind. Eyes twin abysses that swallowed the moonlight. The Xac'ir, Xavier, raised a machete, the blade trembling. "Stay back." The foremost shade tilted its head. The metal in Xac'ir's hand blackened as if plunged into fire. He yelped and dropped it. The blade struck the ground in a hiss of steam. A chorus of voices not spoken, but thought washed over them. Blood for memory. Memory for blood. Remain. Diego, still blank-eyed, took a step forward. Stop. Laura grabbed his arm, but he slipped through her grip, as if drawn by a tide. Mist wrapped him, lifting hair and clothes in a slow spiral. Red light pulsed in his chest. A thin stream of it rose toward the nearest shade. Min lunged, but Anna seized his shoulder. To touch him is to give yourself. Then how do we stop it? Min demanded. Anna's jaw tightened. A bargain. The lead figure advanced until it towered over Min. Cold radiated from it, sharp and dry as winter. A thought knifed into his mind. Child of thunder, your blood remembers the storm. Give, and your tribe endures. Images flashed, his ancestors rowing through monsoon rains, lightning shattering rice paddies, voices singing to the drum of clouds. His veins felt electric. I'm not your priest, Min rasped. The figure's hollow eyes deepened. All who remember are priests. Behind them, Diego's stream of red dimmed, his body swaying like a cut reed. Laura stepped beside Min, voice trembling but steady. Take me instead. The chorus shifted, a ripple of curiosity. Not chosen, the thought replied. Anna's voice cut through the psychic murmur. You want a keeper of memory. I carry the words of the old calendar. Take me, the mist stirred. The shapes leaned closer, their interest sharp. Min's heart pounded. No, he said, louder than he felt. If it's a keeper you want, take me. I will give you memory, but you leave the rest unharmed. The chorus stilled, blood for blood. Memory for memory, give. A burning heat blossomed in his chest. Neither pain nor pleasure. He felt his memories loosen the scent of his mother's jasmine tea. The first fossil that sparked his love of ancient worlds, the night sky above Hanoi when he was 10. They began to slide away, like pebbles down a slope. No, Laura shouted, grabbing his arm. Her touch broke the pull for a heartbeat. Min gasped. There's another way, he whispered to himself, though no answer came. Suddenly, Anna began to chant, a low, rhythmic prayer in Cache. From her pack she drew a handful of copal resin and flung it into the damp air. It ignited in a sudden, blinding white flare. The Xac'ir recoiled. The mist hissed like water on hot stone. The chorus wavered, voices fracturing. Run. Anna screamed. They bolted, dragging Diego between them. The fog thinned just enough to reveal a narrow break in the trees. Behind the shades surged forward, their shapes shredding and reforming, the whistle rising into a shriek that cracked the air, branches clawed at their clothes. The earth tilted, as though the jungle itself shifted to block them. Min felt the pull at his memories again, sharper now, like hooks. He clenched his jaw and forced each memory to the surface, his mother's laughter, his first dig. Every lesson of the ancestors holding them like stones against the current. At last they burst onto a rocky ridge where the trees parted. Ahead lay the black mirror of the lake, moonlight bleeding across it. A wooden dock jutted from the shore, same dock where their journey had begun. Anna thrust the remaining copal into Laura's hands. Burn it now. Laura struck a match. The resin flared, sending up a column of white smoke that spiraled skyward. The whistle behind them faltered, the shades slowing at the tree line as if an invisible wall had risen. For a long breath the world held still. Then the Xac'ir retreated, melting backward into mist until only the crimson moon remained. Heavy and watching, they collapsed on the dock, lungs burning. Diego slumped between them, still breathing but vacant. The humming faded at last, placed by the ordinary chorus of night insects. Anna dropped to her knees, exhaustion bending her frame. The rite is not ended, she said, voice hoarse. Dawn will scatter them, but tonight was their claiming. They will return when the moon is full again. Min stared at the blood-red disk, sinking toward the horizon. His own memories throbbed like bruises, fragile and precious. Somewhere in the back of his mind, a whisper lingered, soft, patient, certain. We remember you. The pale wash of dawn never reached their bones. Mist still clung to the lake like a second skin, and the crimson moon's afterglow lingered on the horizon long after it should have died. Min sat on the warped planks of the dock, head in his hands, every muscle humming with leftover electricity. Diego stirred beside him. His eyes were clearer now, but hollow. "I dreamt of nothing," he whispered. "But I feel full, like someone is breathing through me." No one answered. The words seemed too heavy to touch. Anna knelt near the smoking remnants of the copal. Her fingers traced invisible sigils in the damp wood. "The wards will not hold when the moon rises again. We have ours, nothing more." Laura crossed her arms, shivering despite the heat. "Then we leave now. We hike until we find a signal. We don't stop." Xac'ir shook his head. "You saw how the jungle bends. We walk in circles." Anna finally turned. "The only path is inward. The spiral pyramid waits. What hunts us was born there. Only by facing it can we break the claiming." Laura barked a dry laugh. "Walk into the monster's den? That's your plan?" Min raised his gaze. "She's right. Whatever the Xac'ir are, they're bound to that ruin. If we run, we carry their mark into the world. We end it here, or it follows." The group fell silent. Even the insects paused, as though listening. They set out as the sun burned white overhead, its heat flattening the scent of decay. The jungle resisted every step. Vines thickened where minutes before there had been open ground. Birds circled in silence, black silhouettes against the blazing sky. By midday, they reached the ridge that overlooked the ancient city. What yesterday had been half-buried stone now lay bare. The lake had drained away overnight, revealing a cracked basin of black mud and obsidian shards. At its center, the spiral pyramid gleamed as if polished, each concentric tier reflecting a dull inner light. Laura exhaled a curse. "It's bigger. It's awake," Anna replied simply. They descended the ridge. Heat shimmered off the exposed mud, carrying a faint metallic tang, blood and iron. At the pyramid's base, the air grew cool and dry. A strange pocket of desert in the rainforest's heart. An entrance yawned wide, a perfect circle cut into the lowest tier. From within came a slow, rhythmic pulse, like the beat of a giant heart. Min stepped forward, lantern trembling in his grip. "If we go in, we stay together. No one speaks unless necessary. If the Xac'ir feed on memory, don't dwell on fear." Diego gave a hollow smile. "I have no memories left to lose." Anna touched his shoulder. A silent benediction, and led the way. The corridor swallowed them whole. Walls of black stone curved inward, carved with spirals that seemed to twist when not directly watched. Their lantern light flickered as if pressed by invisible wind. Every few paces the pulse grew louder. Min felt it in his teeth. Symbols lined the walls, serpents biting their tails. Figures with hollow eyes, rivers of glyphs that writhed like living script. Anna murmured translations in a low voice. Cycle of birth and forgetting. Blood as bridge. Memory as feast. Laura stopped before a panel where a human form knelt. Head tilted back, a stream of red rising from the chest into a cloud of shadow. "It's a manual," she whispered. "How they feed." Xac'ir's jaw tightened. "Then let's burn it all." "No fire will hold here," Anna warned. The pyramid breathes. The tunnel angled downward, spiraling ever deeper. Min lost sense of time. His own memories began to shimmer, childhood afternoons in Hanoi, flickering like candle flames. He forced himself to count each breath, each step. At last they reached a vast chamber shaped like an inverted cone. A stone platform jutted from the center, suspended over a dark abyss. On it lay a single object, a drum made of obsidian and stretched skin, its surface slick as if freshly oiled. The heartbeat came from the drum. Anna approached with reverence. "This is the heart, the first mouth of the Xac'ir." The air thickened. Shadows gathered at the rim of the chamber, silent and watchful. Min felt a tug in his mind, an invitation, seductive and soft. Strike the heart. We will remember you forever. He stepped forward despite himself. Every cell in his body ached to touch the drum. To give, Laura grabbed his wrist. Don't. Her eyes blazed with a mix of terror and fury. Aina's voice cut through the pulse. The glyphs speak of a countersong, a rhythm of severing, but it demands a keeper's blood freely given. She looked from Min too. Diego, one of us must play. Diego lifted his empty gaze. I have nothing left for them to take. No, Min said quickly. That's what they want temptiness to fill. The countersong needs memory to burn. He thought of his ancestors again, thunder and rain, of his mother's jasmine tea. He clenched those memories like weapons. I'll do it. Aina's eyes searched his. You will lose everything. Better me than all of us, he replied, surprising himself with the calm in his voice. He mounted the platform. The drum pulsed beneath his palms, warm and alive. Whispers flooded his head, each one a stolen memory laughter, lullabies, the cries of ancient hunters. The Xac'ir circled closer, their forms coalescing into tall, glimmering shapes. Min raised the bone mallet that lay beside the drum. He recalled the rhythms his grandmother tapped on rainy nights. 3 short, 1 long, 3 short. A call for the storm to cleanse. He struck. The sound was not a sound at all, but a shattering of silence. The chamber trembled. The shades writhed, their edges fraying. He struck again, faster, weaving the remembered storm beat into the countersong Aina had described. Each blow felt like a slice across his mind. Childhood birthdays, his first dig, the face of his sister all flared and dissolved. The drum answered with light, a deep violet glow that climbed the walls like living fire. The Xac'ir screamed a sound both outside and inside the skull, then rushed toward him in a cyclone of shadow. Laura shouted something he could not hear. Only the beat remained. A final strike. The glow erupted upward, a pillar of brilliance piercing the stone ceiling. The shades imploded, drawn into the light like sparks into a forge. The floor calmed. Min felt his memories unravel. The scent of jasmine, the taste of rain. He clung to a single thought. Choose the sand. Let the rest fall. Silence. When he opened his eyes, the chamber lay still. The drum had turned to brittle ash. The abyss below was gone, placed by solid stone, etched with faint spirals that no longer moved. Aina stood at the edge, tears streaking her face. It is done, she whispered. Laura and Xac'ir helped Min down from the platform. His legs trembled, but the world felt lighter, as if a great weight had lifted. Do you know us? Laura asked, voice tight. Min studied her face. He knew her shape, her presence, but her name hovered just beyond reach. I know that you matter, he said softly. That's enough. Diego touched his own chest, as if feeling for something lost and found. The hum is gone, he murmured. Above, a crack of daylight pierced the ceiling. The jungle's ordinary sounds birdsong. Insect buzz spilled in like a benediction. They emerged into a world scrubbed clean. The lake bed was filling again, water seeping from unseen springs. The air smelled of wet earth and green leaves, not copper. Aina turned toward the rising sun. The cycle is broken for now. But the Xac'ir are patient. They will wait for another to forget. Min gazed at the spiral pyramid, its stones already dulling to ordinary gray. A faint ache lingered where his memories had been, hollow, both painful and strangely free. He looked at his companions, the names slipping like fish through his mind, and smiled faintly. Tell me our story, he said. Keep it alive. And together they began the long walk back through a jungle that, for the first time in days, felt like mere forest and not a living nightmare.